From career-ending injuries to becoming the most decorated tennis player in the world, Rafael Nadal has seen it all in his career. But all good things must come to an end, and it looks like that time might have come for Rafa. Yep, the tennis legend might be retiring soon. It's something no sports fan wants to hear, but unfortunately the day might not be too far away. With Federer's retirement and the emotional scenes around it, it's only realistic for his biggest rival on the court to also follow his lead out of the game. At 36 years of age, even if Nadal really stretched himself, he might only be able to keep going for a few more years. But looking at the condition his body is in right now, it might not take that long for him to wear out. In fact, Rafa's body gave up long ago, even before he became the most decorated tennis star in the world. The Rafa you see today is all heart and willpower, and the Spaniard also realizes that, since he started dropping hints about his eventual retirement. In fact, this all started months ago. Apparently, Roger Federer's retirement was a huge trigger for Nadal. Well, Roger versus Rafa is probably the greatest rivalry that's ever existed in tennis. Despite having some of the most fierce battles on the court and an ongoing race to the most number of Grand Slams, Rafa and Roger also shared a great friendship. So it's only understandable that Roger's retirement from the sport had a huge impact on Rafa. At the very least, it must have gotten him thinking about how long he has in the game. And since he's constantly been battling numerous injuries, there must be days when he just wakes up and thinks about quitting the sport altogether. The former world number one spoke about his own retirement following Roger Federer's farewell. He spoke very candidly about the matter and said that he hasn't started visualizing his own retirement yet. However, he accepted that he knows the moment is getting closer and closer with each passing minute. He feels that it's closer than it was maybe 2 or 3 years ago. Even though he insists that he's not planning on retirement in the immediate future, this statement tells us that in his mind, he's preparing himself for it every single day. But you don't need to panic. If there's one thing we know, it's that Rafael always goes down fighting. The 36-year-old Spaniard has always defied the odds, which is why ruling him out will never be a good idea. You just can't say with him for sure, because when you think that he's down and out, he'll come back and prove you wrong. This has been the pattern throughout his career in the sport, and honestly speaking, it's only through sheer determination that he's gotten this far. Otherwise, he might have been history a long time back, because he's been battling with injuries all his life. Like, there probably isn't a single part of his body where he hasn't had surgery or treatments for pain. Yet, he managed to prolong his professional career to last more than 2 decades in the sport. If he was a quitter, he would have given up a long time ago. And that is his most important attribute if you ask me. He probably didn't have as much talent and natural ability as Federer, but what he did have was his hunger and desire to do it. He didn't care about the pain, he just kept going on, and that's what's gotten him to this point, where he's at the pinnacle of the sport. His record 22 Grand Slam titles are all down to his determination, because Rafa never really had the body to back his career aspirations. Yep, according to the legend, he's a player living with an injury. The 22-time Grand Slam winner shared in 2021 that he has a chronic problem with his left ankle, something called the Mueller-Weiss syndrome, which is a degenerative foot condition. Because of this chronic issue, he has permanent pain in his heel. He was diagnosed with the syndrome when he was just 19. Since then, he's just been dealing with the pain and had averted the surgery for as long as he could. But in 2021, he finally had the surgery and returned back to win the Australian Open in 2022. After the Aussie Open, Rafa also went on to win the French Open as well in the same year. However, he revealed that he had to receive anti-inflammatories and 2 pain-numbing injections in the course of his winning run at the Roland Garros. He also made it clear that he would never be willing to do that again for the sake of prolonging his time out on the court. Speaking about his chronic foot problems, the Spaniard jokingly said that he's not an injured player anymore. Rather, he's a player living with an injury. What he was basically trying to say is that it's no longer about recovering from injuries with him. It's just a question of the pain being bearable enough for him to continue or not, because his rare chronic condition is here to stay, and it probably won't get better with time. But Rafa has a picture of his retirement in mind. And how does it look? Well, it'll end where it started, on the tennis court. Well, Rafa was the reigning champion at the Aussie Open this year and must have been looking for a good run in the tournament, but that wasn't to be. The 36-year-old crashed out against Mackenzie McDonald in the second round after losing in straight sets. Although he suffered an injury to his left hip, which significantly hampered his movement, he wasn't playing particularly well even before that. And after crashing out because of yet another injury, people have started making speculations about his eventual retirement. His exit from the tournament is one thing, but his general outlook and demeanor don't give me a lot of confidence about his fitness. He looks like a man who's completely spent and is running on afterburners. However, the 22 Grand Slam winner refuses to give up any dates of his potential retirement. But speaking about it in the past, he told us how he wants to go out when he finally makes his bow. He revealed that whenever he finally decides to retire, he wants his ending to be on the tennis court. To me, it looks like Rafa's biggest fear is that he might keep struggling with injuries and then eventually have to retire before making another appearance on the tennis court. And that tells you a lot about the man. Even in his retirement, he doesn't want to show any weakness, and his peers agree. According to tennis legend John McEnroe, Rafa's a GOAT-type athlete. The former American tennis star really jumped in with his praise for the Spaniard while talking about his potential retirement. He had a lot of good things to say about the 36-year-old and mentioned that athletes like him don't come around too often. McEnroe shared that he hopes that Nadal will bow out of the game on his own terms. He said that Rafa, from what he understands, won't go out easily and will always want to keep going. That's how much he loves the sport. The American shared that even though Rafa wants to keep going, if there comes a point where he realizes that his body can't compete at the level where he can win majors, he'll hang up his boots. Well, that's all folks. Let's see how long Rafa can keep going. See you in the next video.